We're going to have a little class today on ground, offset, LEDs lighting up red and green, and waves, regardless of whether they're square or sine waves. All right? So the table here, represents ground. This is fixed. This is our reference point, master reference point. Okay? This is considered 0 volts, 0 amplitude. Okay? This is offset. When the offset is 0, it's aligned perfectly with ground. If I start to move the fixed offset up, okay, up it's the positive direction. This is a positive offset.
And it can be a 50 or 100.
Yeah.
Positive offset,
Yeah.
okay.
It can be, the generator can only support so much offset. All right, so let's say this is the maximum that it'll support. Then you can move the offset, you can adjust it between these two ranges. Like here, use the lamp, all right? If this is the maximum amount of offset that you can have at any given moment, then you can only adjust it between there and there, right? And the same holds true negative, okay? If I apply a negative offset, okay, there's a maximum negative offset because this is finite electronics, okay? There's physical limitations. You can only go so high, you can only go so low. This is negative offset, this is positive offset, okay? And then you have the waveform. The waveform will oscillate, okay? It'll oscillate around a combination of ground and offset. All right? So, let's say I don't have any offset applied. Basically, I have 0 offset. So the offset is 0 volts and ground is 0 volts, and I have a wave. I produce a wave. So the wave is now oscillating at some frequency, a slow frequency, a faster frequency, a really fast frequency. And this can get so fast that, this becomes a blur, right? So this can be a square wave, a sine wave, any kind of wave. When the wave is in the positive area, the red LED lights up. And when the wave is in the negative area, it lights up green. Okay?
It's talking about the via DNA remote.
Yes.
Okay.
So, when I have 0 offset, the wave is moving around the combined 0 volts of the offset and the ground, and both the red and the green LEDs are turning on. And what you will see with red and green both on is roughly a yellow to yellow-orange color, because your eye will integrate the red and the green color. Okay? Now watch this. If I start to apply some positive offset, okay, like right there, you can see that most of the wave is in the positive area and just a little bit of it dips down into the negative area. So the red LED is actually on more of the time than the green LED. And so what happens is, what your eye sees is more of a reddish color. If I apply a little bit of negative offset, right, then here you can see I've got quite a bit of an excursion of the wave into the negative region. So now the green LED is lit up a little bit more, or more intense than the red LED. Okay? And it's going to look like a bright green with a little bit of red in it. Okay? It's going to be like a, I don't know, whatever color that is. So let's start applying more positive offset to the point where the wave, okay, is always moving in the positive area.
Let's say that's 100% offset.
Okay, so
Positive.
let's say this is a positive 100% offset. The wave is always positive. The red LED is the only LED that turns on. We don't get a green LED because there's nothing down here. The wave's all here. And the opposite holds true, okay? As I begin to take the offset negative, I reach a point where the entire wave is in the negative region. And only the green LED lights up and the red LED can't light up because there's no signal up here. It's all down here. Okay, so let's go back to the here. Zero offset. Okay? When I apply positive offset, this offset at a positive quantity is considered killing. When the offset is in the negative area, a negative amplitude, a negative fixed amplitude versus a positive fixed amplitude, when it's a negative fixed amplitude, right, from here to here, this is considered healing. Killing, healing. Okay, let's talk about the wave now. The wave. If the wave is square, okay? And it doesn't matter if it's square here, or square down here. A square wave is considered killing. Then we have a sine wave. You know, it's a soft wave. It's a sine wave. That's considered a healing wave. And it can be a sine wave in the positive, with a positive offset, or it can be a sine wave with a negative offset. The sine wave is considered healing. Square killing, sine healing. Positive offset killing. Negative offset healing. Then we have the magnets inside the remote.
Okay, first, before you do that, give an example of why would you use positive. In what situation would you use a positive offset and square versus a negative offset and square?
So a positive offset, which is killing, with a square wave,
Okay.
is kill, kill.
Kill, kill. Okay, so if you really want to go after a pathogen, that's the one.
That's the one.
Positive offset, square wave.
Yeah, that's kill, kill.
Okay.
All right. If you want to do, you know, if you want to accentuate healing, if you really want to go after healing, then you use a negative offset, right? And a sine wave.
Negative offset and a sine wave.
So,
okay.
For effective killing, the most effective killing, you know, between offsets and waves, all right, you want to do a square wave here. For healing, you want to do a sine wave
And
here.
negative. Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
And now let's talk about the magnetic polarity. The magnetic polarity is something that you can't program inside the generator. It's a property of the remote. So if the north poles of the 6 magnets are pointing in towards the cavity, you have what's considered a positive magnetic field right there where the little vial goes in. You know, all the north poles are pointing, you know, into the cavity, and that's a kill orientation of the magnets. In turn, if the south poles are pointing towards the cavity, the hole in the remote, that's considered a healing disposition, a healing, you know, configuration. So white remotes have the negative poles of the 6 magnets pointed towards the cavity, which gives you a kill orientation. Again, it's fixed. You can't flip the magnets around in the remote. It comes manufactured like that. That's a fixed static property of the remote. If it comes with the green, if it comes with the south poles pointing towards the cavity, we have a healing situation. So if you want to maximize
So hold on, and that's black.
Yeah, and that
remote.
one's black. Okay? North pole, kill, pole, white remote. Okay? South pole, south remote, you know, black. also called universal. Okay, so the first one, the white remote's the advanced because it's got a kill orientation of the magnets, and the black remote has the green orientation of the magnets, the negative. Okay, it's
It has
negative
nothing to
sign.
do with how the remote lights up. It's just talking about
It has nothing to
right.
do with how the remote lights
just
up.
talking
It's
about
it's just the orientation of the
the
magnet.
orientation.
It's
Okay.
a fixed amount. See, you can adjust the waveform. You can make it square. You can make it sine. You can adjust the offset. You can adjust the amplitude. You can have just a little bit of amplitude. You can have a lot of amplitude. You can have a little bit of offset with a little wave. You can have a little bit of offset with a little wave. A bunch of offset with a little wave or a big wave. Okay? You can't program the remote. All you can do is swap the remote out for a white one, for a black one, depending on what you're trying to do.
Okay, so and the black one can do healing too, and the white one can do kill as well. But it's just how you program the offset and the waveform,
Okay.
correct? And
Right,
we won't
so-
go into too much detail, but the point is you can use a black remote for
You can
healing,
use a black
and
remote
you can
for
use a
both.
white remote for killing.
You should really only use a white remote for killing, okay, with either 0 or positive offset, right? 0 or positive offset,
Okay.
because positive offset is killing, all right? So in a white remote, you're going to have 0 to positive, and you're going to have a waveform that can be, if you want to kill, you want to have a square. If you want to heal, which is something that you're not going to do with a white remote, you don't use the white remote to heal. You just don't. A black remote, you can have positive or negative offset. You can do sine waves, or you can do square waves. So the black remote is called universal because it's more universal. It has more applications.
And this black remote is how recent? The most updated one? How recent is that?
That particular vintage,
The black
particular
remote.
version of the black remote.
Yes.
We've been manufacturing that particular remote probably a little over a year and a half.
So today is May of 2022.
Today's May 16th,
So since about
2022.
last May of
No, since about the
2021.
beginning of last year.
2021.
Yeah, or the end of 2020.
So if someone has that black remote, it has a white hole.
It has a white hole.
Okay.
And
And we
two
would
inputs.
suggest,
It has 2 inputs.
right,
The-
meaning
the-
two places where you have to connect the
Yeah, the cable.
the cables, and that's how you know that you need if a person has the older remotes, we would suggest they get the newer black remotes.
If a person has a black remote and it has a black hole and it has only one BNC connector on it, only one input, that's old technology.
Okay.
They should get a new one.
Okay, for someone who's wanting to know a lot more about the offsets and the waveforms, you can go to viadnaremote.com website,
The about page.
the about page,
and you go
to
to a white paper. In the white paper section, it's called Parallel Modalities.
if you want to see pictures of the settings, you can go to.
You go to settings. Go on the about page under the white paper.
Okay, sounds good.
section.